in a journey of building a career, there are lots of times nuances that one sees and one decides that this is what I'm meant to do, this is what I'm not meant to do. Now that could be very clear for some people. For some people, there could be a huge dichotomy in mind. Especially when you come with the mindset of saying that I originally did not want to go across and work. I wanted to just take care of family, be happy, be content. So in a way, that fire, that overt hunger, that overt construct of saying, "Mujhe machana hai, mujhe kuch karna hai, mujhe constantly have to prove something," as it is something which you have to work far harder on to dwell and prong. But when you come to a stage in life where you're now moving from the role of a service provider to the role of the service recipient, and then moving from being a support system to business and decision, how difficult is mental recalibration there? For people in the business sense to say, here is a person who I knew as a lawyer and suddenly coming and trying to teach me how investment should be done. Or here is a person who's trying to giving me gyan as to what a founder needs to look at. Yaar, isko to contract dekhna chahiye tha. Why is this person going on talking about intangible elements? Because intangible elements, a professional should not talk about. So how did you deal with that recalibration, and how do you see industry today evolving? For women in VC, women in PE, perhaps you play a very, very interesting role, right? Because a lot of women who are your friends, who are doing very well, are directly in the industry basis their background, and they are not professionals turned into investors or professionals entering the business zone or the business role. You're a rarity. You managed to go and in professional services, a lot of people call it that you broke the glass ceiling in a very different manner. How was recalibrating that? How was the ability to change dynamics there? How easily was your voice heard on a board? How easily was your voice heard in a room?
I'll take the last point first.
Okay.
By nature, I'm not someone who can talk too loudly or talk too much unless I can talk a lot if I feel very passionately about something, but not usually. Initially, of course, I realized that I kept making my points, I was not heard. It was usually a lot of times a room full of men. Maybe I'm the only woman, another one maybe. But slowly I realized that I didn't have to raise my voice. As long as after some time people realized that, okay, she's talking sense. You are heard. It's okay. You don't need to raise your voice. You don't need to talk just for the sake of talking. If you're making sense, ultimately you will be heard. That is something I've realized. But yes, being a woman, and now also, I attend all these events, etc. You can count the number of women in your hand. It's one hand sometimes. It's not how it should be. But I'm seeing more and more women joining the VCP industry and doing really well. So things have changed. They are changing, and definitely much better than when I had started off. Now, coming to your point of transition, I think it was very natural. I've been with Saama for more than a decade now. So even before Saama, when I was at NDA, they were my clients, and I was used to handling all their transactions and taking a lot of decisions, even though I was just a service provider. So I had already known how Saama functions, how Ash Lilani thinks, and that helped when I joined in-house. And it was a very natural progression in that sense, probably because the team is smaller. And Ash has been, not just Ash, my entire team, our entire team here has been very supportive and constantly helping me to reinvent myself and encouraging me to, take on this. I was always part of the IC meetings. I, constantly would hear what their thought process is in making an investment decision, exit decisions. So I was always part of it. So I don't know how it happened. It wasn't even like, okay, from today onwards, you're going to take this on. It was a very natural progression because I have always been very involved with our portfolio companies. Ash has always given me uh, complete freedom to, talk to our founders.
In fact, you're blamed at times to be overtly emotional about your portfolios as well.
I am. I get very, very emotional.
Does that ever color your judgment? Does it ever color a decision, a thought?
I think it does. It does quite a bit. I get very emotionally involved, and that is something I'm still learning from Ash, who's one of the most empathetic and high EQ person I have ever met. But because of his experience, he's learned to compartmentalize the two, and that is something I'm still learning from him. It is difficult many times.